Hey guys, Alex Fedotoff here, and today I have extremely special guest, Joseph Martin. He grown the BoxyCharm beauty subscription box from zero, and he sold it for $500 million in a period of like six or 8 years.
It was about 7 years. You're right there. You're pretty good, yeah.
7 years, and your story is crazy. I mean, like I was listening to I don't remember which one. Your whole story, kind of like how you came to United States, like literally in 2001,
the end of 01, a couple of days after 9/11.
And you're from Israel, and you pretty much like started like blank and built this tremendous company, exited it. So I'm very excited to have you.
I had a couple $100 at $375. And so, $300 is $300.
What I want to kind of like find out is what you think differentiates you from like other people, and we'll get along the way. I'll be asking like more questions in terms of the scale that this business has achieved, right? Like, 'cause there's a lot of like 6-figure business, 7-figure businesses, even like 8-figure businesses, but only few ever get to the level where you've been able to scale it to.
It's a pretty long story where I started the first company called Merchandise Liquidators. I even had a typo in the name. I used it with a Z because I'm Israeli and I didn't understand how the domain was available, merchandiseliquidators.com. And then, oh shoot, did I buy it with a Z? But eventually I just kept running with this because the one with S was a couple $1,000s at that time. I didn't have the money and I said, let's just go. And I ran this company for quite a few years. It really helped me develop myself as an entrepreneur.
That business model, right? Like, I mean, if you can elaborate for people listening, like the business model there was predicated on you buying like products that haven't sold out, like in big like retail
excess inventory, customer return from department stores, but it was business to business. It wasn't business to consumer. So I was buying, say, truckloads of clothing that were left over on the shelf by Macy's, and then I would sell it to stores that are more like TJ Maxx. I wasn't directly selling to TJ Maxx. I would sell to people who would sell to TJ Maxx. The idea was that if you have a store like a discount store and you want to have branded items, but you don't have the ability to contact all those brand names and buy the quantities they require, you go to me and you buy. You spend a couple $1,000s to maybe 10,000, 5,000, 500, depends what the deal is. And I started flipping the goods because I had no money. I was living in 1-bedroom condo, and I started flipping goods. I built a website. I got this list of suppliers, right? The Federated stores, which own Macy's and Bloomingdale, and at the time Burdines too. They would have all those excess inventory centralized in one place, and there was a department. There were a few people over there that would just send you a list of what they have available, and I would get that list every day. So I built a website. I had to learn how to build a site. At the time, it was with FrontPage or Dreamweaver. I had to learn by myself some codings and build a very basic website. It's non-transactional website, more informative, just letting you know what type of deals we have. And then when you want to buy something, I would tell you to wire me the money. I would receive your money and then go and buy you that deal in Macy's, Sears, CVS, whatever it is, buy a truckload, send it over. And I made sure that I explained thoroughly what you're buying because there is no returns. I'm going to buy you something I don't own and I didn't have the money to return it. And I was very clear about that. So it took me about 15 years.
So how did you generate business for that one? How did you did you reach out?
SEO.
Did you cold call?
SEO. No, I never did that. I always did. So that was the first question when I met a friend and they told me, look, you don't need money to make money. And I said, good, because I don't have any money, but I want to make money. And they said, well, here's a list of all those suppliers. And I said, yeah, but say I get all those deals from them. How do I find the clients? And they said, search engine optimization. Here are the keywords you got to go after. Liquidation, liquidators, all that. Now, bear in mind, that was at the end of 03, beginning of 04. I had to learn SEO. And let me tell you, when I got obsessed with something, I had a bunch of hobbies before I started. I was dancing salsa. Everything was straight to the garbage. I don't care about those anymore. I'm done cooking. Let me lose all my talented cooking, but nothing. I don't care. That is it. I want to create awareness. Let me learn SEO, because by the time I learn SEO, finding the right product will be my next phase. Let me learn SEO. So I did. I learned how to code. I learned how to do SEO, and we get to a point that
how did you learn? Like 2003, 2004, right? Like how was the
that
learning?
was a process. There was lots of evolution, and I mean, Google went through its own evolution to know what is the right results, right? What is junk versus what's the right results? And at first, what was allowed back then wasn't allowed later. But at the end, you just understand that, there are two parts for it. One is the recommendation for your websites, the links that you get, the quality of the links. It's not about the number of the links to your website. And then the content and the user experience. Do people come back to your website eventually? If I refer you, you have to think like the engineer. What do they look for? And you said, well, if I'm opening a website and I have just a generic content, but I did everything else outside of the user experience, everything else was good. So you're going to get your first chance by Googling, and I saw it firsthand. You would get a chance. You'll rank at the top for a particular results for a while. But if they find out that you just got lots of links because you hit the front page of Reddit or Dig or Stumble Upon at that time, and you had all those popular sites linking to that particular page, now that page will rank. However, if they saw that the engagement on that page was low, a couple of days later, all that work was for nothing. So I figured, okay, I can't do that. I need to really rely on content. And in order for you to rely on great content, you have to have great merchandise. And if you have great merchandise, the content is secondary because those people will find you eventually. So after a couple of good years of focusing on SEO, I shifted my attention and I said, look, the SEO by the end of the day would give you so much. But if you have all that great product, it doesn't matter. People will just eventually keep coming back to your website and they'll find you. So, and if you have both great SEO and great, or any type of marketing, it doesn't have to be just SEO and great product. This is not 1+1. This is 10 times 10. This is 100. This is the difference. And then
then like you pretty much now, if you're talking about this, like now you use those like same principles later on, right? Like when you create BoxyCharm pretty much, because like it was a great like value, like valuable product, kind of like the value in that package was like exceeding the value, the price that people paid.
Yes. Yeah. When I started BoxyCharm, I saw the concept because I got some orders from another company called Glassy Box, and they bought some products for me. And I had staff. They were selling products, and one of the salespeople sold something to them. And I asked him, "Who's this client?" And he told me about the subscription box concept, how it works. And I said, I can do it better. And what I thought I'm going to need to do is not what I ended up having to do. It's two different things. But I already started, and I had this rule. I said to myself, I need a proof of concept. And I didn't call it a proof of concept. That's more of a business term that you learn later on. I said, I need to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it doesn't matter if you really use business terms for it or you just use as long as it's the right thing. So I said, I'm going to give it about a year. If after a year, I don't see that it's going to work, it hasn't I don't find that light at the end of the tunnel, then I'm going to cut it off. I have already a business. So we launched BoxyCharm, thinking that I can sell all the excess inventory at first from drugstores. And within the first few weeks, I learned that that's just not going to fly. That means I have to actually source products.
So you try to package the same products that you were selling kind of like in bulk?
Because subscription boxes were buying from me those products. The problem in 2012 when they were buying it from me was that they were asking for free stuff. All subscription boxes were asking for free stuff. They would go to brands and they would say, give me some products and I'll just give it to me for free and I'll put it in a box, give it to highly engaged consumers, blah, blah, blah. That was back then. Today, if you actually go to any subscription box, they're not asking for free stuff. They pay you the cost of goods, or at least try to pay you the cost.
So you kind of like, you were like one of the first to bring this.
I was the first to say, this is where I kind of like say, okay, I'm not a first mover. I'm a second mover. It's better because I know the concept is working, but I see a problem. After 2 weeks into this, I understand that there's a problem. The brands do not want to give anything away for free after a while, or the stuff they'll give you for free, you don't want to take it because it's garbage anyway. They just dispose of it. They don't need that. So that is not going to create a longevity. Right now, all the subscription box concept, it's fairly new. There aren't too many out there. If I can come to a point where I can actually pay the cost of goods and get 5 products in the box that the cost of the box to the consumer will be about $21. We started with $21. I'm going to pay about $10 for the products, for 5 items. And that would allow me to give full-size products that I select, that I know the members will want and need. And they'll have a full experience. And for the brands, it would cost absolutely nothing. But the value of all this will be $100. Now, that is a winning process because I can do it consistently forever. You would always have an amazing box. Not just once, one-off, you get something for free from a brand. And no. I can create the economics. So instead of charging $10, I figure I'll charge $21. $10 go for products. Another $4 or so goes for shipping, handling, and all that stuff, packaging, and then the rest is profit. This way, I stay profitable. The brand doesn't have to incur any cost.
On the front end, it's such a low profit margin. Let's say, so it costs you like you said $10, and then it's like $4 shipping, and then you're selling for $21.
About $5 shipping. That's how it started. I'm talking 2014, 15. That's how it started, and then $6 the profits, and that's supposed to run the business. So it's a volume game. You have to have enough members. Because, once you have 1 million members, for example, now $6 is a lot of money, right? Every month. So you basically say, okay, every month I'm going to go and sell and I'm going to make $6. Now it's $6 million a month that you're going to make. And because you have 1 million members. Okay, then we at the end, when we sold it, we had, I think, close to 1.2 million members. And that was more or less how we profited. And then some boxes were $35, and so there's more profit. Some were quarter. So, and then there's also a store after that. So the business was highly profitable when you actually put it out there. But the idea was that
what was your CPA? Like, what was your CPA to acquire like one subscription box member? Like, 2014. Okay, a lot of things have changed.
I would say that the whole CAC, customer acquisition cost, was not even a term we ever used because everything was influencer marketing based. Up until, I would say, 2020, mid 2019 to 2020.
Crazy. You haven't used like paid advertising like Facebook, like ads and stuff?
We never really deal with this only until the end when we sold the business. And we wanted to just learn it. And we had a very, I would say, junior team at the time when we ended up selling it. We spent, I think, I want to say no more than 30,000 a day at the end, more something. So for a company that was grossing in 2019, okay, the way it was going on, it was kind of like, think of it this way. Okay, we sold this in 2020, at the end of 2020, December. That's when we get the wire. That's like really the end of 2020, and we did about 470 million in sales.
Wow.
And profitable? I think at that time, profit. So we did about, I want to say 30,000 to 28,000 a day. That's how much we spend on marketing. That's at the high level. A year before that, it was maybe 6,000 a day. And the year before that, it was maybe 6,000 a month. We really did spend money in marketing. And that's paid. That's Facebook paid. Influencer marketing, that's where we put our money into it. Because it was working. When I'll explain to you why, people were surprised. And I'm surprised where people were surprised. If you have, I'll tell you, the thing is, if you're the only one that think about this, where everyone else is thinking about, let me spend money on marketing. And you said, no, I'm going to spend all my time and energy on products. I will give you products that are going to drop your jaw. How the hell did you get it? I would have all those major brands that no one thought they can make it into the box. The NARS, the Orgasm Blush. You would have Fenty products. You would have MAC. You would have every brand that the best brands out there ended up rolling in, wanting to work with us. And one item would sell the box twice, many cases, and you have 4 more items. You would find that the box was just ridiculously good, that people would get it, never want to unsubscribe and get their friends. If you focus on that, you don't need to worry about advertising. And the deal is so good. So it was... It's
a similar mindset that like there's like in Silicon Valley, right? Like there's this like product. Everyone's like kind of like so focused on that. Was your mindset as well?
Yeah, the product market fit was everything. If you would ask me what did I do as a CEO, it was all product and marketing. Everything else was going to my COO, meaning managing the structure of the business, all that stuff. I had barely time to deal with this because that was for my opinion, that was more the administrative part. And if I could find someone else to do it, until I find someone to replace me in marketing, I couldn't leave until I found someone that was able. And at the end, I did find a great person that was able to take over the product, so I can focus more on marketing and everything else. It was, that if you're going to leave that, it's going to fall apart. Everything else, you can find people. I can find great logistic people that can do all the shipping. Imagine, by part, we're a logistic company. We had to figure out how to ship 1.2 million boxes in the course of a week. And then send everybody home because we have nothing else to do because we're done. So it wasn't a regular traditional business. And the concept of that was that you buy part a technology company, buy part your marketing company, buy part your a logistic company, but you're not a makeup company, even though everyone look at you as a makeup company. And you have to be good at all those elements. So if you would drop me into the warehouse, I would understand how everything would work in terms of fulfillment, because we had to do it in-house at first, and I understood the fulfillment process. But later on, I learned that me putting my time into it is a waste, because I can find other people that have done this multiple times that can modify to what we've done and know things I don't know. But I couldn't find someone to actually kill it on marketing at a high level, manage TikTok, Instagram, and build the cool factor, build the community, know exactly how it needs to get done. It's very proprietary to your business. How do you give me the cool factor? Not everyone knows how to do it. So then I decided I'll double down on this until I found that person. But until I do find the right person, I'm not leaving. And same with the product. And it was working. And you can scale this way all the way through. I mean, if you look at Elon Musk at his stage, he is very involved in every piece in each company, engineering wise, because he understands that without him being tuned to those little details, he wouldn't be able to actually envision the future. He needs to know that in order to know what he can envision for the future. And that was the same for me.
Do you still believe that business model works, or it's not existing anymore?
Absolutely. If you, no, absolutely, you can. The idea is that, look, you can find deals, and if you can find the clients to buy the deals, you can do it. If I had to start right now and tell me to go in and do the liquidation, it would still work. I know people that still do it. It's not something that everyone knows about. There's more competition, but then there's less competition for those who knows how to modify themselves. I've seen those who evolved, and they still do the concept conceptually, but different than you just can't do. If you think that the liquidation, just like the box, if you think that in 2022 you're going to do the same thing like you did in 2017, which was, let's just say, your best year, you're wrong. Yeah, it's not. You have to do it different, but conceptually, it's the same. But you got to modify yourself. You have to zigzag.
How much money you've made from that first company?
Well, at the end, when I was at its peak, before I opened BoxyCharm, because I ran them simultaneously side by side, and then I put my sister-in-law in charge on the liquidation, and it still did good, but I think it was doing about 10 million a year in sales. And just for perspective, right? I think it was after 10 years in business or 7 years or something, it was doing that amount. And then the box was, year one was 1.8, and then year two was 10. And then 50, and then 20, and then 50, and then 100. So it just, once you understand that, okay, I've been way too comfortable on this one. I mean, it was going big, right? The liquidation was going big. It was going fast. And so it was going from, say, 1 million to 2 million to 5 and then 10. But I knew that it's going to be limited to a certain amount. Like, it's just not going to make it into hundreds of millions unless I change the business from its core. And I have to be very uncomfortable, and I might lose everything that I've been doing. I have to compete with all my sources. And that requires lots of capital and years of operating under loss with someone else's money, not mine. And I wasn't comfortable doing that. But when the box came, I was able to outgrow all that. When I looked at all those other sources that I had, at their best time, they sold half of what I sold in BoxyCharm. And that was just a whole different business, a whole different category that was I was able to grow very fast. So yeah, I mean, that was the interesting part behind it. Sometimes you need to think outside of the box. Don't just think that your space would be big enough to reach the dreams that you want to be in. You might have to get into a whole nother space, get comfortable learning something completely different, because that might be much more achievable than operating within your space to get to that size that you want to get to.
Hey guys, people have been asking me how we scale to multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures per month without getting shut down on Facebook. And we have a very sophisticated solution for this that I want to share with you, but it's just too valuable to give away for free. So if you guys want this solution, just book a call with one of my team members and we'll show you exactly what it is and how it works, and we'll see if that's a good fit for you and for your business. So just book a call with my team member. We'll share it with you so you can scale your business to multiple 6 figures or even 7 figures per month without getting shut down on Facebook, without having inconsistency, and with high profitability. So just book a call with my team and I'll see you there.
Only like, I don't remember the number, but it's like 0 whatever percent like businesses ever get to like 8-figure level, which is like 10 million. So what was for you the motivation, or what was your why?
So it's a good question, and I'm not going to tell you that I know for sure what made me that. I'm still trying to go back into my own head to understand why was I the one that. I think there is a piece of it that there's more than one reason, I think, but one big factor is that you kind of like build yourself in your business, and once you see that your competition going to a particular size, that's already your new norm. You made already 10 in one business, then it's in your mind. Just it took me so many years to get to 10 in the first business, and it took me 2 years to get it in the second business. And once you see the numbers in the year when I made 10 million, Ipsy, which was my biggest competitor, reported that they made 150 million. And then it was, and you have to understand.
Did you know the founders of Ipsy?
Only they bought me. They acquired BoxyCharm.
But did you know them back then?
So I knew of them. I kind of wanted to make sure I don't meet with them because not for anything, not because of it. I heard nothing but good things about them throughout. But you have to understand something. Everyone has a different reason for motivation, and I need an enemy. I need someone that I can go and beat. I need to go and know that if I know that you're the person that does it. First, when I'm the underdog, and I always came out as the underdog. I was never a first mover that invented concept. I was coming in to fix a gap in the market that there is in a particular proven space. And when you come in, your motivation is to say, I need to do better than them, and every day is another win. And just really about a video game that I have to come closer and closer and closer. And I know that if they make it, I can make it better, and so on. And you try to better your product proposition, you try to better your marketing, you try to kind of like build a more dedicated community. And every time, and you look at, I look at everything they're doing. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone is wired different. Everyone has a different reason for the motivation. I heard Gary Vee saying he doesn't give 2 fucks about this competition. That's me. Each his own. My motivation came from a very driven part to say, I'm going to beat the person who did the last score. It's like a video game. If I see that score on the board, I need to beat that. That is a great motivation for me. And it's not going to go away. That's just the way I'm wired. Without that, maybe I'll get more comfortable.
There's another like very fast growing company, Il Maquillage.
Yeah.
Like also the founders from...
Yeah, I know them. I know the founder. Yes, good guy.
So do you think there's something about the like upbringing in Israel that's like very particular, or that the Israel constantly in a like conflict with other countries, like fighting for their own like survival? Do you think there's something in that like embedded, like that made you this way, or it's just like your personal?
No. I just know about myself. Look, I know about myself. I can't tell you about Israelis that made it in their way. It is true that Israel has it's called Startup Nation, but when I moved down here, my entire circle of friends were mostly Hispanics and Americans, and then running through the first business, it was coming from a place where I learned this from Latinos. It wasn't coming in, so I wasn't really around to go and put a particular reason why. But also you have to remember, Israel bring the best and finest over here, but in a way, because Israel is not like you make $300 a month. No, Israel has a probably better GDP than Spain. So if you're not making it over here, you can just go back, you know what? And then those who don't make it, just go, and they'll be fine in Israel. But those who do make it can probably, and it's just my opinion, that I never really did a study, but we really see those who had a reason to stay, and they can do much better than what they've done over there. That's why.
Second year, you're already done like 10 million.
For BoxyCharm, yes. Yes. Look, I mean, the evolution for BoxyCharm had to go through evolution with me. I needed to evolve, right? So once you made the first 10 and it's like, okay, it's the same like the other company that took me 1 million years to make it, the other company. One thing I did learn is that my communication with my team had to be different. And it got a lot to do with the space you're in. Not every space can grow so fast, but for concept is that the concept for BoxyCharm is direct to consumer. It's a business to consumer. The other company was a business to business. So it's two different things. But in both of them, people will come to us. We wouldn't go and solicit anybody. So I created a great space that if you're a salesperson in merchandise liquidators, you would receive all the phone calls, you would receive all the emails, people would walk into the office because we would be all over the internet, and your job is just to sit down and say, this is what we have. So it was really easy. I'm really good with building marketing platform to bring the people in, to lure the people in. And when I came into the box, I understood that it's a momentum. It's all about the product. But the good thing between what I do with the box versus the liquidation is that when you have a supplier for a liquidation company, you would keep it until you die. You would never tell this to nobody. So I had to create awareness every time, again and again. I had to go and find it. When you do a box, when it's a business to consumer and someone got a great box, they open it up, they snap a picture on Instagram, they tell on their friends, look at this awesome deal. And I fall in love with this. I said, this is freaking heaven. I've been breaking my back over here for all those years for consumers. And here I have more members. It's like the rich get richer, more members, more people. I don't even have to worry about marketing. How great is that? Just get the best product. And then the evolution within me was, how do I build a bigger team that are all aligned to the same goal and know exactly where to go? So I don't have to tell them this project, yeah, this project, no, because first it's flat. You have to look at all the ideas and say yes, no, and you want to shoot yourself after a while. And then I decided that I'm going to have, I was giving advice by a good friend of mine. And she said, you need to create something called executive summary. And she said, the way it works is you have a summary, but first you have executive summary. So if someone comes down, they look at this, and within 1 to 2 to 3 pages, it tells you who you are and what you're all about, and everyone understands the direction. And then to break it down, all the Bible behind this goes as the actual summary. And the executive summary is, what is our goal?
As a company, right?
As a goal, yeah, as a company. And I had to think about what is my goal. I knew that I act on a goal because I'm taking the right decisions, but I never told this to myself. And once I told this to myself, I said, all right, it needs to be the smallest particle, the most basic thing that would kind of like sum everything that I do. Everything that I do helps that particular purpose. And the goal was to grow, to have more members. While I'm profitable, grow. And I said, but then you needed to come up with major strategies. Kind of like, what is good? How do you grow? Because you just say grow, it's 30,000 feet high. People would come up with the wrong ideas. But if you narrow it down for them and say, look, here are the strategies, so it will help us grow. And a strategy is like the road to get there, okay? And the tactics are the pavers to build the roads, right? A strategy is a common denominator for multiple tactics. So once you understand that, then I started thinking for myself, is that an idea? I had all those things in my head, and I said, okay, so let's just say we're going to do an influencer event every 3 months. Is that a strategy or is that a tactic? I don't know. So then eventually you said, all right, everything around influencers would just help their experience. So let's just say one of my strategies, influencer experience, give them the best experience, make them love us. That's a strategy. So everything we do around influencers would have to revolve around that. If it's the way we engage with them, we talk to all that. That is a strategy. So then that makes it so easy to understand that. So I came up with the first rule. I said, you know what? By the end of the day, the product has to be amazing. So we're going to say content is king. The product has to be fucking king. Then experience. Get the best experience for the consumers. And we would break it down. We would say experience is not just sending you the box on time and all that. No, experience is our Instagram or our TikTok has to be fucking amazing, non-commercial, just kind of like a community builder. It's just fun, exciting, something that's part of your experience. It's going to give you an image about who we are. And then the second, we're going to show you everything in the office. It's going to be all people in the office doing it. It needs to be part of the experience. Then we would have the other part, which was brand experience. those are our partners. Give them the best-in-class marketing campaign for free. Make them cool, make them amazing. It's all about them. And then the last was influencers experience. So we had those 4 pillars. Get the best product in the box, best experience for the members, best brands experience, best influencer experience. That's it.
You were kind of like already doing them in a way, right? Like you just like,
I was doing it, but if you come down, I didn't articulate this to you. And my goal as a leader is to tell you, look, here is a couple of things you need to know. First, this is our goal, to grow. Everything we do, it's about growing while we're profitable. It doesn't have to be maximum profit, just head above water. The second thing is how we get there. 4 ways, not 5. You do that. Anything else that doesn't align with those strategies doesn't help us grow. So if I tell you, look, I'm trying to reach New York City, I'm going on a 95. But if you tell me, hey, look, let's use this bridge. It's a great bridge. I said, well, that bridge is on the I-10. Great. Road, great bridge, but doesn't help me reach my goal. So it's not going to help me. And I would give it to them. No matter who you are, it's something that you need to hear. You can come from Harvard with 20 years experience in the industry, or you can come as a kid that graduated from high school. It doesn't matter. You're both now you're both starting the same way. To hear that, it's new for both of you equally. And then once everyone understands, you would hear managers, you would hear directors talking to their peers, and they would say, it's a good idea. What pillar do you hit? Like pillar 2 and 3. And they would always know how to hit the direction. Now what you have is basically everyone throwing things on the wall, everything sticks. But you have to pick the best one. So it's a very goal-oriented business, laser focus on a direction. All the vectors go into one way, you pierce through any problem. And that's how we were able to grow so fast.
Did you have any people like, so when you communicate this, right? And then people's like values, like just like not aligned, or they don't believe in the same thing. Did you have those people like drop off, or like just
I had one guy that was very smart, but it didn't work because he came in with an ideas. And listen, I'll listen to anything, but if I see that it's not part of what we're doing, then I'll tell you that, look, I said no one time, said no the second time, third time, you're not going to stay here. And his ideas were different. And it's all good, but you came to a business that has already its directions. We're already growing. Thank you very much. Can you join our vision? If you want to have your vision, listen, lots of luck, do it yourself, or go to another business that have that. One time with someone that I have to give him the respect, that he came and he was talking to us about this and said that it was early on, it was in an earlier stage, and that's okay, and it's fine. But at the same time, it is my business and not yours. So someone has to live, and it's not going to be me. So
how do you hire? Like, so what are these things that you're looking for? Are you looking for track record? Are you looking at the person like values and like their attitude? Like what's more important to you?
A little bit of everything, and also depends on the position, right? Really depends. I was focusing on product at the time. I mean, if I don't do the C-level, which the C-level I had to be involved, or C-level, but then if it was for marketing, I was more involved. And I like to talk about marketing a little bit more, because ultimately we had an HR company and people were in charge on their own hiring. I think that for me, it was easy. I mean, if you hire a marketing person on social media, look at your resume to see how you can hold it. But what platforms were you managing? Let's look at your TikTok. Show me how you do a video. Do you know how to edit a video? Can you trim the video? Do all those technicalities, because don't you think that you're going to come down here that we're going to have to teach you that? I need you to bring something new. I need you to help us evolve. I need you to go and be an addition that's going to be a little bit like us or better. And if we don't find it, we're okay with a smaller group. The group doesn't need right now to nurture now. Again, it all comes down to what position. But I was blown away when I was looking at companies and they would hire a social media specialist or manager, even more, or a face for and they never even looked at their handles. Like, listen, this is the position. Show me your handle. What do you do?
Wow.
How is it? Why would they even? This is your real resume. I look for 1 second about your resume, then I don't give a shit about it. You tell me you know TikTok, but you don't have a TikTok account? Like, I'm going to hire a trainer for the gym, but shows up this guy with a big belly and a big donut and says, let me train you over. Get the hell out of here. I'm not doing that. That's literally the same. And then you would have you would have that happening in my company, in other companies. And I just couldn't believe it. Well, she's from Stanford, so I don't care if she's from Stanford. You cannot be too much in a box. It's not all about that. Like it's different if I hire an accountant, someone for the accounting team or logistic. It's a little bit different. That's more traditional. But sometimes you have to think outside of the box. How do I know you have the it to actually be the person that's going to be speaking in Spanish on our Latinx channel? How do I know you're good? Have you ever done this? And then my philosophy behind this was, think of a weather channel person, okay? If you come in right now to say CNN or major TV, kind of like if you're going to broadcast across the country, right? You have to start doing this in the local channel, talking about the weather. They're looking at your performance over there, and then they hire you for the big league. That's the same with us. We have a big company. We have a lot of, I need to see how you've done this either in a small company. And if you have experience, otherwise you're not good for me. Don't show me results, or I don't need to see a resume. This is more about that. So that was so obvious, and I was surprised I had to explain that. But again, I mean, when you really care about it and you're very jealous for your company, it's going to come more natural than others that have already a protocol and they go in and here's my resume, and that person said, "Oh, nice resume, let's go." So
are you a visionary or are you integrator?
I think I'm both, right? You have to be a little bit of both, but definitely you have to have a vision. If you have no vision, you have no idea where you're walking. You can't just build a business. One thing you have to understand, the vision is also understanding the space that you're walking into. If I don't understand my environment, I'm going to hit walls every day. I'm going to hit walls. I'm going to make the wrong decisions. I'm never going to find a product market fit. It's important for me to launch something that it's the time to launch and the right product to launch. We didn't have too many things we've launched. We launched only few things. We had our base box, and then later on we launched a quarterly box in addition to the base box. Then we had a tryout for an online store only for our members. And then we launched that as well. And then at the end, we've launched a $35 box. So we had about 4 things we've launched throughout the entire years. We had a couple of things here and there, and everything worked. Everything worked. And the idea is that your company is growing for a reason. Everything you've launched worked for a reason. It's because you understand your space, you understand your consumer, and you know how to space out, right?
How do you understand like women and what they want?
If you're a woman in a woman's world selling makeup or a box, you know your product, so you're already going to be biased to begin with because you have opinion about the product, and you don't realize that you are a bubble. You are 12% of the population or so. That's what you like. And it's very hard to go and hear someone else saying something else. And I've noticed this, right? When someone is so emotional about their own product. So I would have at first my team looking at products. And very quickly, I learned that there's a person that's lifting the product first, saying their opinion. Everyone hears that. They form an opinion based on their explanation, and they follow that. So then I had to say, okay, see what's going on here, because on social media after that, people didn't think that. So let's go and do it the other way. Okay, everyone's going to write down what they think about the product without anyone else saying anything, because that's how it's going to be in real life. And when people get the product, then we found that, you know what, my merchandising team is way too advanced. They know everything about every product, so their bar was so high for the product. However, there are so many products that the consumer wanted, and they just didn't like it because they say, no, we need something else with more perils. But then I would go to another group in the office, and they would like something completely different. And I found that no matter what, it's a bubble, it's a click. And it would be, imagine if I sit down right now with only, say, women with fair skin tone, and that all came from, say, New Jersey, and all lived in the same neighborhood, and they all did the same thing. And then you pick up another group that came from, say, the South, and they're all African Americans. Each one of them is going to be their own bubble. They're going to have very similar opinions for that group. But if I'm going to go and have a similar group, and it's a lot of you sitting together, I'm not going to get a spread of what everybody wants. At the end, when we decided how to build the boxes, we would send a survey to a couple thousand members every time. And we would ask you, what do you think about the product? What do you think about this variation completely? And we would have a better sense, and we just killed it. Every box variation we built, it was just a killer variation. It was always working. And it was literally just ask more and more women. At the end, I would know what works. I know the common denominators from the side. Big things always sell better, just believe it or not. You would find out that if I'll give you a little tiny item that has, it's very expensive, let's just say it's an eyeshadow, but it's a single quad eyeshadow, and it's very pigmented. You're not going to like it until you actually receive it. But that might be more expensive than a full-size eyeshadow palette with 5 shades or 10 shades that people would blow. It's going to blow the people's mind on social media and when they got it. However, once you put it one next to each other, you will understand the difference, why that one item, one single eyeshadow would be so different than the 5 pens in the eyeshadow palette. But you need to have both next to each other for the consumer, and the consumer would never have them together. So at the end, they said, you know what? When they see that one single eyeshadow palette on social media, they're not happy because it's not big enough. So I'm going to remove it because I'm showing you both of them. And you said, look, I like the variation of colors, but this is so much better. I'll take this. But that doesn't work for the consumer. So that I had to just take the decision, said, no, we're going to give them the 5 shades because that's what they wanted. Because they don't get the perspective of having both of them next to each other. You don't go to 1 million people, choose it, and their perspective is not the same.
So even though, right, like, I mean, you mentioned you had the merchandising team, and I assume like this merchandising team where like people was like coming with like a lot of experience, you would still get involved.
At the end. At first, it was not. It was lots of us, I would say, very young crew from Hialeah and Miami that came over, and no one from the beauty industry. At first, no one knew us. And you work with the local market for employees. And let me tell you, I would never replace them, by the way, because that's why we thought outside of the box. That's why we came up with things that we did not know that this is the way everyone in the beauty industry starts anything. But we had no idea about that. And we just focus only on what's important and urgent, and we're able to grow. If I was hiring industry people and listening to them, instead of looking for the best products, I would not do that. All of them was talking about, let's talk about who is she? Let's talk about how you're going to change the world and why are you even here? Let's talk about how you're going to save manatees and what organization you're going to donate to. And all this BS that I told them, just get out of here. Get the fuck out. I don't want to hear you. Okay, I want the best fucking product, and I know what's trending right now. NARS have this product. Okay, this new product from Tarte Cosmetics is the thing, and I need that. Okay, can you get me Tarte? I knew what's going to work, and I didn't need someone from the industry. And my team didn't have all those taboos that we need to have a DNA for a company. What is a DNA for a company? I had no idea.
9-figure business that doesn't have any DNA, right? Like
DNA, what are you talking about? I know what they want. I'm talking to the consumers every day. I don't need to think about the DNA. You're overthinking things. When you overthink it and you do everything that's not important and not urgent as your priority, what do you think you're going to get? You're going to sink.
A lot of businesses, and we've had this also like in our business, we would bring someone in like from the outside who's like kind of like supposedly experienced. We would like put like our opinions aside, like in terms of like knowing the industry, because we would assume that person knows better, right? Because, oh yeah, supposedly, they have like more experience that we do, then probably we should listen. And over time, it would always turn out to be like making us go in a totally wrong direction. So that's exactly what he said.
It's challenging. You would need them when the company is more structured for different reasons, but not to lead. Otherwise, you're not going to be a unicorn if you do what everyone else is doing. If you bring an industry person that's going to tell you, here, this is industry, then you're going to stay in the same lane with everybody else in a traffic jam, and you're not going to be able to surpass anyone.
They would tell you like, okay, this is like how it should be done, right? Like you shouldn't kind of like, in many cases, you shouldn't listen. Like you should just like listen. You should just listen to your like gut and what got you like in a business in the first place, right? Because a lot of the decisions are not like very like data driven. They're like intuition and gut, right?
A lot of it, yes. A lot of it. I think that, and I don't know, I mean, like, look, when you think about how other people operate and compared to you, you say, well, if I'm going to go and put all my resources for look and feel for my website that is already good, my website is fine, is optimized, is just all of it is black and white. The only pink button that it's really big said join now. And the conversion rate is going to be disrupted. They want me to write down and change everything and put flowers and just everything that they have no clue what they're talking about. None of them have any expertise in UI. None of them have any Yes, you're selling makeup in stores, not in a subscription box. So I was confident enough to trust myself, knowing what I'm doing and knowing that I am on the right track and I focus and at that time I didn't have the term urgent and important. It wasn't a thing that I thought about, but in time I understood when I ended up being called by some of them later on to consult for their companies, which they were much bigger than mine at that time, but they noticed something right with me. So they said, oh, you know what, actually you're doing something right. Can you actually help us? And I've noticed that they're just dealing with corporate meetings after corporate meetings with bureaucracy. And they're just like a government body that doesn't do anything fast enough. And I don't want to speak to the name of the companies, but they're big and that's what happens. And when they're very big, they're trying to manage themselves more than anything. And it was just a very traditional way for them to work. And I just didn't want to go and get that on my company. I didn't want to disrupt with that. And it was easier for me to see the mistake from the side and be happy that, yeah, I'm growing into a large size business, but in many other companies that are half my size already, but they're under that environment, they have so many employees, so many meetings, so many useless meetings. Instead of just, look, think about it. When you wake up in the morning and you go to the office, that is the most productive time of your day. You stop being as productive after your lunch. You grab lunch, you eat, your body has to process the heavier food, your productivity decline. If you start your day with corporate meetings that are lots of people, and maybe 3% of these people are going to actually engage in those meetings, and the rest shouldn't even be there. But you're in those meetings during the most productive time of the day. You continue the meetings until a later part of the day where they send you to actually work, not as productive. Instead of that, flip it on its head. Say, start with only the important and urgent things. Then if you want to do a meeting today, make sure it's and not too many people, only the right people. Those who don't speak don't need to be here. Make it shorter and only do it if you have to do it. Don't just say it because it's on the schedule, on the agenda, just another follow-up corporate meeting. Do it when you have to do it. So, I mean, we structured the business, I think, superiorly to others. And we're able to grow with only about 120 employees to that size company. It was pretty impressive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What's your strategy with like influencers?
I didn't overthink it. I just said, look, as long as they're doing product, beauty, just give them a free box. If they're small, if they want money, take a look if they have enough engagement on their post and decide, you know what, that makes sense or not. I had 2, later on 3 girls managing the team, and they were fucking rock stars.
Three people managing the whole like influencer program?
2,000 influencers every month. 3
Holy
people.
Like on
Anything
a retainer, 2,000 people on a retainer, or just like 2,000 people that would sign up?
2,000 people would get boxes. I think 3% of them got paid. The rest were just getting boxes.
Only
and I think
60 of them would get paid. The rest would just like work for a free product.
Well, yeah, because they weren't big enough, but they were happy to get free stuff. And sometimes we repost people. Sometimes absolutely.
Crazy.
It was very, very good. And I'll tell you that, you can overthink who you're giving it to, or you can say, just don't think about it. If the product, I'm not selling Rolex watches over here. I'm not trying to send this to the right ones that a watch costs that. No, I'm selling a $21 box that technically cost me $15, $16 or whatever, $25. So let's just say it cost me $18 or $90. I don't remember. I'll send it to her any day. No problem. If I see that you don't post, I'm going to take you off. And there was a system for that. There was a tool for that to see if they posted or not. And that's it. Let's go. And it worked. I did not want to overthink it.
I've seen some photos on your Instagram with like Kim Kardashian. Like, did you have her sign up? Did you pay her for a post or like some promotion?
No, you pay, of course. Yeah. Kim does not need the box. Yeah, no, she did not. Oh, I love the box, Joe. Come over to my mom's house and we can meet over there. No, you pay for them. But I would say that it's an amazing family. I love them. They're doing so good, and I'll work with them again. They're amazing.
So you didn't like start, like a lot of brands, like when they starting, there's like a launch, like, okay, let's get some of these like big superstars, like, and then get like smaller ones, and then do this like massive launch.
I had a sandwich. That was my lunch. I grabbed a sandwich when I started.
So you just keep it simple.
Yeah.
But the product itself was like kind of like worth sharing, right? Like that's what you put like the emphasis on.
Everything was around the product. The product. Well, if you give me a product that's so good, I'll promote the. I mean, we had tons of strategies. I'm giving it to you kind of like in a nutshell. And the evolution where we ended up to where we were later on, we did lots of events and we took influencers to Mexico and we rented hotels in Coachella and we took them. And it's just like a lot of those because it's part of our experience for influencers. And I'm till today friends with so many of them on a personal level. And I have no business. It's not business related. It's just literally you become friends with people that you did so much work together. And of course you're going to be. So yeah, it was around that. Like we didn't really think about launch in the beginning because there was no point. We had a test run. We started in 2013. We tested. Then we stopped promoting it because we knew that the products are not good. We had to figure out how to buy products. Oh, now I have to buy those internet brands. Interesting. How do I contact them? What do I pay them? All those questions. I didn't know. So I said, all right, let's start and see what happens. I think January 2014, that's when we fully launched and we hit it off. And that's when we started growing, and that's when I had more aha moments and more aha moments and more aha moments, and every time you get better and better, and then it doesn't work, and why not? And you go back and you, I think that's the reason, and then you fix it. Oh, it was the reason, good. And then every time, and it's like a video game for me by the end of the day, and it's just you're trying to go to the next phase, and every time there's a dragon that comes, and you can beat him on the first time, you die, you have to start all over again, reach it all the way to the, and until you finally find a way. Oh, that's how I kill him. I needed the key before that, and then that was it. That was just an awesome game, and the money was just a way to keep score.
With kids, right? Because you have kids, right?
Yeah.
So, how was it for you? Do you feel like you had to sacrifice like a lot of time with them, like to grow the business, or
yeah, I mean,
like
was that? I mean, traveling more than I wanted to, and actually the fact that you have, let's just say, you go home and you're supposed to play with them, you're playing with them, and suddenly you get a call, and they tell you that the house is on fire, blah blah blah, something happened, you have to stop. If you go deal with that and not being with your kids, and it's obvious, right? It's second nature. You're going to go and tell the wife, like, listen, help me out. And my ex was amazing. I mean, she was taking care of the kids and she was a rock star. And, she helped me where I couldn't continue in that particular part. And I had to go in and it was happening a lot more in the beginning. Later on, it started, you've seen it all after a while. So the team already knew how to manage, but yeah, I mean, the fact that in your head there's something else, you're playing with your kids, but there's something else running in your head and it's hard for you to concentrate. Yeah. Selling the business was definitely, I can't tell you what was the weight of that, but I said to myself, it's going to be so much better when I don't have to worry about it anymore and I can just get out. I mean, it was the momentum. You enter at the right time, you get out at the right time. You have to know to get out at the right time, but also there's a lot of that. Just I need to be with my kids a little bit more. I need to make sure that I do it until my next thing comes. You know what? I need this time with them. And from that moment, I mean, I can tell you that it changed everything. It was so much easier. You kind of like set up yourself. Okay, so I'm putting this like whatever, like 5-10 years into this. I have to sacrifice this. You kind of like set up yourself for it and just go all in. Yeah, everything you have. Because there's no second chance with this. If it falls apart, it falls apart. Once you have cool factor and you lose the cool factor, I don't know a way to get it back. It's very hard. So I had to continue the momentum, and I built the cool factor for the company. And once you had this, I kept going, thinking, how do I keep it? What do I do so next month I'll surprise them with something they haven't seen? And it's been, say, 6 years into it. Every month you have to surprise them with something. Not just with product, it's something else. How do I not turn into boring? And Yeah, and you have to reinvent. But listen, it develops your brain like a motherfucker. It is a hell of a process. You come up very creative from the other side. It's like a muscle, and you work that muscle every day in the gym. That's what you do.
So you're forcing yourself to innovate.
Forcing yourself every day. Staying relevant is probably more challenging than getting to be relevant, because staying relevant needs to be forever until at least you sell the business. How do you stay relevant is not as easy as it's how do you get to be relevant. To get to be relevant is only one time, and then you made it to the relevancy part. Now let's see you staying a month after month after month after month after month when everyone else is trying to do the same thing. And how do you outshine them? What do you do?
Did you find your new enemy? Did you find that new mountain that you want to climb?
Yes. So I have a couple of things, but everything is in a project right now. It's not a company. Something's going to turn into a company. But yeah, I need to find it. It's interesting because at first I felt like, when you get the cash, and my wife and I broke up, and then I bought a house, and I remember I woke up one day and I didn't have to do anything. I got up, and it was just a nice place. And I don't have the kids today, and I can just do whatever I want for the next few days. I can literally just jump on a plane and go to Ibiza or whatever I want. And I said, damn, this is amazing. It's nice. But then a little bit into it, you start getting bored. You just run through Netflix, everything that's out there in Netflix, all the boring stuff too. And plus I'm ADD, so I don't have patience to watch any TV. So I need to do something. I need to do it. So I started building projects, and I'm running into multiple directions until I'm going to nail on one like a missile, and let's go. It's walking in the office that it's yours, and you have an infrastructure. If I want to launch a business now, I have to reestablish an infrastructure. So I don't really care what I'm launching. I just need to have something, because the infrastructure of office, say you have a couple staff doing things, you can launch with this anything you want. That didn't work. Let's try a new business, but you have already a format, a platform. To start all over again, all you have to do is just get that infrastructure, and you try a couple of things until something really hits the home run. You got to know what you're doing. You got to go to a space that's big enough and all that. But building the infrastructure, and that's when I understood that, okay, that's why it's different for me. Now I have to start from everything. I have to LLC formation. I have to, everything I need to do it. When I started BoxyCharm, I was using my old company name. It's just easy to start, and it's really, really easy, right? I have already the website guy. I had all those people to go and do it for me, and then all I have to do is focus on only what's important, without all the little bureaucratic stuff. Now I have to do it all. So that's why I decided, okay, I'm going to build a project or two, so I'm going to have something. And then on top of that, I can mount whatever I want until something works. I can't tell you now. I do a couple of things, but I can't talk about them. Yeah.
Next time you just read it like, oh, it's another like 500 million exit.
You know what? Ideally is bigger, right? You don't want to do the same thing you did. But even if you just build something that can be mounted, that doesn't have to be sold later on. That business had to be sold. You don't want to pass a business like BoxyCharm on to your kids. The stress every month to reinvent yourself, unless you completely modify the business. And that was a business that was meant for exit. Other companies don't have to be. So it's less about the size. I'm not even like the size. The way that we sold it, that wasn't really exciting for me. I mean, I think what was exciting that was we were able to grow it in the way that we profitable. And it was from 50 million to 400 million. It was taking us about 3 years, and close to 500 million and profitable. And the profit grew as we scaled, as we grew bigger. So we grew faster as we grew, and the profits grew even bigger. Wow. So that was my exciting part behind this. I said, look, I grew a 500 million business. And the exit is just the exit. It's you find someone that wants to buy it. It doesn't really mean much. You learn something from the exit, but that's not your evolution as a person.
I've heard from several people. They say like, oh, it takes like the same amount of effort or like energy to build like $1 million company than it takes like to build like $100 million company. Do you agree with that?
No, not at all. Look, it takes a lot to get to the first million. Took me more than it took me to get to the 500, I think. maybe the same, but to get from 1 million to 10 million, yeah, there's some differences. Not everyone can do it. And then to get from 10 to 100, again, you have to transform your business. It's not going to be the same business. And then from 100 on, say 250, right? To get to 250 plus 500, it's going to be very much similar, because from there, tiering it, because it's all about tiering the organization and structuring it. Once you get to that level already, that's it. Like, it doesn't matter. You can take it to the moon from there. You can take it to billions, but again, you have to get uncomfortable again from 100 to 50. There's something that from 50 to 100 that it's kind of like similar, but pushing it from that point on to like in the 9-digit numbers or 10-digit numbers, you have to get uncomfortable again. So it's really not the same. However, from 0 to 1 million, I guess it's all in your head. It's a lot of it. It's in your head. It's really not every space gives you enough room to get to 1 million. If you didn't make it to 1 million, it's more about you not thinking, not doing the right action throughout the day properly.
Do you read books?
Not as much as before. I think that social media fucked me up with attention span. Not gonna lie to you, it was easier for me to go through books, and I enjoy this. But it's now I'm reading a book over here, but I'm struggling because it's just hard for me to just focus on a book, to actually get a couple of pages done without wanting to do something else or literally falling asleep, because I need some video running around in my head. So not like before. I read a lot throughout the day, though. I read a lot of content, but not in a book form.
So even you, I mean, you're a successful entrepreneur. You're still vulnerable to like social media and like dopamine and shit.
I'm a human being, right? Like everybody else. And so that's definitely me. I'm not going to tell you that I spend on social media the same way that you are. I definitely see it as a tool. So everyone's feed is different, right? I'll look at the way people editing their videos, and I'll ask myself, what is the difference in the videos that are going viral on, say, YouTube Shorts versus, say, TikTok versus Instagram, and why is it that TikTok is winning? And looking at their algorithm, trying to figure it out, understanding that. And that's part of the way I see things. Try to unveil this. But again, this is something that I've done forever, because it's a way that I function. I am a marketing person. So
throughout this journey, like, did you kind of like stay in shape? Did you always like work out, like as the business was growing, like, did you maintain that balance?
Yeah, I always stayed in shape during the business. I think before the business, or somewhere chronologically, it's hard for me to recall, but I think right before the business, I had like a little transformation before I launched BoxyCharm. And I lost about 20 something pounds. I was never really big, but I was a little bit chunkier. And I remember that every time I tried, it didn't work. I took trainers, it didn't work, until I went on bodybuilding.com, and there was a guy named Chris, some British guy, that did a transformation on his own, and he was going through 90 days transformation, showing all the videos. I did this for about a month and a half following him. I didn't continue, different reason why, but I lost 25 pounds, and I never gained it back. I mean, I would go in and out with like 7 up, 7 down, something like this, but I never really gained the whole thing back. And that's it. And so I like the gym. I like going to the gym, but more of a relaxation for me, not trying to go and be The Rock or anything like that. But, yeah.
How do people connect with you?
Well, you can find me on Instagram or on TikTok. It's YFL Martin. And I'm going to open something on YouTube Shorts. I don't remember my own handles on YouTube, but you can find me on Instagram and on TikTok, YFL Martin.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Thank you so much for listening. And yeah, looking forward to see your next projects. So it must be mind-blowing. So thank you.
No problem. Thank you.